and welcome. Zoe here, ready to unpack Seligman's PERMA model. We've come to the fifth A for achievement in this positive psychology model. So let's have a talk about what that is and what it looks like. So when we look at achievement, often this links to our goals. If I was to tell you that people who are more goal-directed are generally happier in life, that might sound quite simple and logical to many of you, but how long has it been since you have reevaluated what your goals are? Because certainly what was driving us in life in our 20s might not be the same thing in our 30s, 40s, 50s and so forth. So it is around coming into what is it that I want to achieve in the short term and in the long term. So in the context of COVID-19, where there is so much uncertainty and unknown, I would suggest that we have a whole bunch of short-term goals, and it can be everything relating to your health and well-being, your fitness level, maybe learning a new skill, and keeping that quite short-term. What we don't want to do is set unrealistic goals or something that is so far-fetched that it causes us additional anxiety. I would suggest that you bring the family together as well. Like, what are your family goals? What are you working towards? What would you like to spend more time doing? And creating lists. There's a lot of neuroscience in list creation, and it comes down to giving the brain something to do. You are rewarded with dopamine for worrying. It's only a small amount, and dopamine, of course, being a neurochemical, the brain likes to feel like you're doing something. So by creating a list and writing things down and doing pros and cons, and maybe an Excel spreadsheet is more your cup of tea, however you would like to create it, you are giving your brain something to do. So it's twofold. It's in the activity, but it's also in you achieving some goals. So having your just for today, weekly goals, monthly goals, and maybe something that might be a little bit longer in length. Because if you are ticking off these goals as you move through this time, it will give you a sense of achievement. And that achievement creates a really strong positive emotion of pride, and we talked about pride in the first video. So I would encourage you as much as possible to become very goal-centered and goal-directed, being realistic during this time as possible, and having these short-term goals that you can tick off your to-do list, and not to give yourself a hard time if you don't reach everything. I would suggest that you give this goal list to someone that you trust and admire, because if you have perfectionist tendencies or you feel like that might create more anxiety, you will know a voice of reason in your life. Access that person and say, do these goals seem plausible to you? Let's talk about that. So open those lines of communication and reach out to one another when goal setting and planning. And once you have achieved your goal, turn up the volume on that. Reward yourself with a pat on the back or a fun activity to do with the family, or cook yourself a nice meal. Whatever the reward is, the reward matches the achievement. Because psychologists will talk about time spent experiencing the positive effect of positive emotions. So when you've reached that goal, it's not a case of, okay, next, and moving on to the next goal. No, spend time celebrating that accomplishment and that achievement. And that, in essence, is A for achievement from Seligman. Thanks for listening, everyone.